Oh, yes, 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 boys and girls. This is a fine Sunday evening. It is around the 8:30 mark. There was a card subject to change tonight. We got Shane Fair. Oh, son of a bitch, my notifications are always on. I am the fucking biggest idiot you've ever met, Shane. I swear to Christmas. Uh,
Oh, look.
Look at that, baby. This this is the end of a fine Sunday evening. We had Slick Wagner Brown to start us off today. Then we ran into Alec Price. Oh, the prize, Alec Price. If I don't say it right, he'll reach through the camera and strangle me, that little beeper. Then we had Team Espana.
Oh,
Holy
look.
crap, Jose and Hoseby, those guys are off the wall. And now we are capping off the evening, a little nightcap, if you will. Ooh, with one of, I consider, and I don't care who says any different. There are two guys in my book right now. There's Mark Adam Haggerty, and right now there is Shane Fair. Those two guys really have always stuck out to me as ring announcers because it takes a village to get that event rolling. We don't just have wrestlers on here. We have referees, we have ring announcers, we have managers. I don't care who it is. We bring them on. So before I keep rambling on and on and on, this is Stirring the Pot. I feel like I'm on cocaine, Mr. Fair. I am so excited to have you. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest with a beautiful smile, might I add. Look how gorgeous Mr. Fair is tonight. My very special guest, Shane Fair. Thank you for spending the time with us tonight, sir.
I cannot possibly live up to that. Thank you, Don. Thank you very much. It's great to see you. Making my quarantine feel a little bit more special. Thank you.
Well, we are all dodging the Kincaid. The Kincaid. Yeah, sometimes it goes over, sometimes it doesn't. Don't sweat it. I know it's serious. We try to lighten it up just a little bit around here. So let's start there. We'll introduce you to whole good, but I want to catch something real quick. This whole mess we got going on. You're in the New York City area, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Is that correct? Okay, now
Yeah.
we don't like to call it ground zero because that just sounds not right. So you're in a hot spot, if you will, of what's going on. How's you, the fam, your friends, all of that good stuff? Are you guys all right?
Ground Zero 2.0, as it were, I guess, right? But yeah, it's all around, man. It's just I'm sure you're living with the same kind of thing. We have the lines at the supermarket, like you get any kind of name brand thing in the item, in the supermarket, it's like, you cherish it now and everything. But I mean, just life's been adjusted, but it's definitely a quick change and a quick adaptation these last couple months, you know, rolling with the.
Absolutely. And the human race hates change, and holy shit, are people flipping their wigs right now?
Oh, definitely. You can see it's like everybody's on edge. It's like they're waiting to snap, and some have, but yeah, you can see it's all around us. It's tense. It's tense.
And that's why we say F it, and we create Skype interviews with some of our favorite men and women. We say the hell with that bullshit. We know what's going on. We're living our lives, but we gotta have fun. And I'm not saying I created Skype interviews by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm like, how can I get a better reach on the friends that I've networked with in the biz? Because I've acquired some really, really cool friendships. Shane Fair being one of them. Oh my goodness, man. When we first met, and I'm going to kind of start there because when we first met, we didn't really know each other. We didn't really talk a whole lot. You were in the front row, PWA, love fucking PWA, miss it to pieces. We're going to get into that because I know you're going to be excited to hear what I got to say. If you don't know already, which I'm sure you do, but you would sit right next to Foggy, my main man, Fog, man. You had Bruce, you had the Schlutz and the kid, Jake Sluter, and we were always on the heel side, if you will, of PWA. Great times. Take us through some of those PWA moments because I know you had some fun up in that front row.
Oh, it was awesome. It's like I I always looked for promotions that were outside the New York City area where it was like things were a little bit different. I'd always try to go outside, my comfort zone or where I knew, where I had friends. So PWA kind of appealed to me right off the bat. I saw that they had the Friday night fights and everything. I always thought that was kind of interesting. $5. You remember it was like on average 5 fights, and then it was a pretty cool system. That lottery system, where a number would be randomly chosen to fight another randomly chosen number. But that was always a real cool, feature. It was a little bit different. It had like a Friday night, like pit fighter kind of, feel to it. Heels on one side, faces on the other, staring each other down, taunting each other. It was a really cool, atmosphere and everything. So you guys, far from home, you guys took me in right, off the bat, and like we were always able to like, talk wrestling, and like, it always made me feel like, even though I was far from home, it was like people I could look forward to seeing, taking that 100-mile drive and everything. So I always thank you for that, man. It was
yeah. You did take a drive, and it was a very small, intimate setting. Again, $5, usually about 5 matches. Sometimes they would slip us a Mickey and add something cool and not unique, because wrestling, it's hard to kind of really, but their system, again, very unique. I had on, and it was my very first, I call it the very first ever selfie stirring the pot, and I did it with Miss Scarfo, Kara Scarfo. What a gem she is! Holy cow! Co-owner with Joseph von Schmidt. That dude's a little loopy. But anywho, back to Miss Scarfo. We went back to the original. Well, not the original. Well, I want to say the original, because that's where I seen it in Cheshire. We went back to the old PWA building, and we kind of hung out there. We walked around on a beautiful sunny day, and we talked. The rejuvenation of PWA is coming back, my man.
That is so cool, man. I've heard tell of the the renaissance of PWA, and now down south, where is it going to be located? Is Georgia?
Yeah, it's in Georgia. They're gonna bring in some of our favorite men, that we know around here, like the Sebastian Cage, Dickie Moon, Nutrius X. They were gonna bring some of our guys down there to mix with their guys that they got going on. Joseph von Schmidt's doing the Georgia end. Miss Garfo is gonna do the Connecticut end. Now, again, very odd time. So she was thinking late summer, early fall. We'll see where that comes to Volition in Connecticut. But I don't care when the fuck it comes back, my friend. We are gonna be there. I know that.
Oh, 100%, man. When and where is just a question. I'll definitely, in whatever side of the guardrail I have to be on, for that, I would gladly be there. You know what I mean? That's regardless of the fact.
And I want to just stay on that topic for a minute, because the heel to the right, the face to the left, the good guys against the bad guys, like you were saying, they would even jaw at each other across the ring and really taunt and stuff. The randomness of the lottery system, picking number 7, you never knew who was going to step up. They did kind of that fake stuff, because they
right. Forgot about that. How they would feign.
Yeah,
number.
Yeah, they would taunt us a little bit, and that was like, oh, wait a minute, oh, wait a minute, kind of thing. But talking to Miss Scarfo, that was a legit gig right there. That was no gimmick. That was legit. Nobody knew who they were wrestling. The numbers were actually a legit system, no bullshit. And that, and the whole separation of the heel face, I think has made PWA one of the most unique promotions that I've ever gone to.
Oh, definitely. And you can't imitate that, because that's like one of those things. If you try to copy that, and it's so blatantly obvious that where it's derivative from. So it's right. You can't take that's cool when you find originality like that can't be there was a lot of cool niche things about that place that was like it made it real special. It was like I don't mean to like, it sounds almost like condescending or shitty, but it's like it's almost like a gourmet promotion. You know what I mean? It's like it's like it offers something different than the rest of the promotions. It was smaller. It was like, but it it was like a gourmet promotion. It was like there was really special, cool things going on there that you didn't see other places.
And that front row, dude, it was like here's the ring right here. Here's the ring. Here's us right at the front row. It was like Fuck yeah.
You know what? I remember like there was a clip of Dickie Moon. I caught him coming off the rope, and I remember sitting in the seat and I had my phone and I went like this, and it was like, where do you go over your head with the camera to capture something? And I was like, the guy was over a head. It was like, where is that? You know, I was like, it was amazing. That often opportunity often. Sorry.
No, that's quite all right. See, boys and girls, we talk wrestling. We haven't even dove into Mr. Shane Fair yet, and we're smiling, we're laughing, we're reminiscing, we're waiting for PWA to come back. Man, good times, man. And those faces that were at PWA, and I'm gonna name a few, and you're gonna be like, hell yeah. You might even smile a little bit too. We have like the Elijah Six and Test of Strength. He started there. We have Sammy Diaz. He started there. We have the Zachariah Gibbs in PAPW. He started there. We have Ryan Frost. He was kind of there, maybe not as a wrestler, but he was there. And there's more that I could go on and on. We're seeing, because once PWA closed, the boys and girls that were just starting needed somewhere to go. So they looked for other schools in Connecticut or in their, pretty much between PAPW and Tessa Strength. They kind of split their ways from Cheshire School to an East Haven area to East Hartford area. And some went one direction, some went another. So now we're seeing some PWA students that had to find their way. And now we see them in a different environment, but really making names for themselves. It's amazing seeing that shit.
That's cool. Yeah. A little bit of time, just those 3 years removed, and it's like, that's all the time you need. Like somebody like Sammy Diaz, like, you saw that glimpse of the talent, at PWA, and it was like, wow, this guy, it's inevitable where he's going to, that he's going to achieve success. And he definitely has in the Northeast for sure. And, XWA, a lot of them, you'd see these faces and, so on and so forth, I used to drive up there with Sebastian, we would have the most miserable drives. It was like 4 or 5 hours in traffic. Yeah. We would like leave the city, like, every week it would seem like we couldn't defeat it. It was like, all right, we'll leave at 2:00 this week. We'd still get there like just in time for him to get changed and like run, go over. And, like, it was like that was such a 95 north on a Friday is the most miserable trip. But knowing what was on the other end of it, it didn't matter. Coming home.
Yeah, going there is one thing. Coming back, and I know you don't always hit as much traffic, but you're going back into the city, so that place never sleeps. So there's always traffic. But yeah, getting there is always like this. I don't know. I think I need medication for this. When I'm going to the events and I'm running just a tad late, but I know I'm going to be on time, and I always go an hour early, and I'm still looking at that hour early thing, and I'm like, man, if I'm not there, I start sweating. I get a little anxiety going, and I'm like, come on, motherfucker, I got to get there. It's almost like I'm going to be late, but I know I'm not.
Yeah, you you want the front row seat, and like you're OCD about it like I am. It's like like a prick. I used to say front row or don't go. That was like my mom was like, if I couldn't sit in the front, then I don't want to be there. Like, it's like I don't want to look at somebody's head, and like, I just want to be up front, because you know what? It's like suspending disbelief at an event. It's like more intimate when there's nothing between you and the it's like to see other people's reactions. It's like sometimes you just want to you want to observe it firsthand, and you want to suspend disbelief, and that's the best way.
A place like PWA, Test of Strength, very small, very intimate. The best thing that I enjoy about those kind of shows, no guardrails whatsoever. Like you're saying, you're at the ring, you're having to film over your head a flying hippie. Okay, those are the things that really make those environments, for me personally, and you as well, and not just us, but many of the fans. I love that shit. I think it's the best.
Oh, absolutely. In the at Pro Wrestling Magic, we call it the Splash Zone, and it was like it's like SeaWorld. It was like and how many times, like anytime the action came close to me, like as a fan at Pro Wrestling Magic, I would always like grab my bag, just start like all right, this is valuable, this will spill, like you instinctively know the action's coming your way, and it's like that's such a cool part of it, to have to flee for safety and like a mass exodus of fans, a section like that really is like the cherry on top. It's like you're participating in fleeing in fear at some point.
I've been actually knocked out by Dirtbag Dan.
Are you serious?
Okay, I'm gonna paint a quick picture. I've told this story before, but I love telling it. And since I'm talking to Mr. Shane Fair and we're talking a little too close for comfort, I got my phone. I'm doing my thing, blah, blah, blah. And next to me is Johnny Chill, little cousin Johnny Chill, if you will. He's sitting to the left of me. Originally, he was sitting in my seat. For some reason, he still says to this day that it's no bullshit that he had to move for some reason. Anywho, I'm in the chair. Dirtbag Dan is about to do a flying suicide dive spot, okay? Now, Yusuf, Dan Gore, they get in front of me. Now, again, Johnny Chill's supposed to be there. He happened to move to my left. Here comes Dirtbag Dan flying, but his suicide dive turned into a spinning wheel kick mid-air. His dirty, filthy foot hammered my head, and it went like this. Me, the crowd, and I, we were doing this. Fight forever, da, 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 da. Fight for, blah, 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 blah. My phone hits the ground. All you hear is, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. I go and pick up my phone, and I'm all fucked up. My head is all bruised and shit. It was hilarious. It was amazing. It was wrestling, and I will never, ever forget it as long as I live, no matter how much I can't remember exactly after that fact. I will remember as much as I can from that night. Holy shit, indeed, man. Wow. That's talking intimacy right there. Good fucking times.
You watch like your summer camp memories from like age 8 to 9, like the one. He wears those big Doc Martens too, doesn't he? He wears those big.
I don't know what Dirtbag. I try not to look at him too much because he's kind of filthy. So yeah, you see him, you smell him from a distance. I don't know if you're familiar with Dirtbag Dan at all. He does this thing I personally call chemical warfare, where he gives the refs the business with his. Oh my! Ugh. I've been part of that, and it's so bad.
Proud?
Yeah, it's so bad. Oh my God!
It makes Tony Atlas look like a saint, man. This guy, he loves sucking feet, doesn't he? Like he's got a foot fetish going on. I've seen him suck on several occasions at several events at Wrestling Alliance. I saw him suck feet in the crowd, like much to everyone's chagrin. You see a lot of cringe. The big foot sucker from way back. He's awesome though, so you can get away with it.
He is. Hey, that's his gimmick, man. Oh, you know what? Let me rewind. I just had him on the show not that long ago. That's not his gimmick. That's Dirtbag Dan. It is what it is.
Exactly. What you see is what you get. There's no,
We've been having a great conversation. We're almost 20 minutes deep. It feels like 5 minutes, like we just started. We haven't talked any Shane Fair, but we've been talking wrestling, so it kind of doesn't matter. So now I'd like to dive into a little bit of Shane Fair because, boys and girls, if you don't know who Shane Fair is, I'm telling you, he gives the white glove treatment. And when I mean the white glove treatment, that is legit, no bullshit. My man is as dapper comes. The gloves, the shoes, oh my God, the pictures. And you're going to see, when I do an intro, I throw some pictures in there. He's got a sweet little plaid thing going on. He's got this gold thing going on. Anything he puts on, Mr. Shane Fair, you pull off anything. If I put on one of those things, I'd look like ridiculous. Oh my God, you pull that shit off amazing. Thank you so much.
What's the suit stores in my area love me because you're gonna get rid of a giant jacket that it's been sitting on a rack, and you're gonna get rid of the ugliest thing store simultaneously. Like you're gonna get something that that was like for Steve Harvey's prom or something. You get. I buy some awful suits, but I embrace them. But you just got to make them work and everything. But that's the thing too. It's like I've built up this collection of suits that I can wear nowhere else but wrestling. It's like there's not unless maybe it's like but I just keep adding it to the collection and everything as much as best I can. I added 2 in the hiatus, 2 more ensembles.
I can't wait to see what they look like. Now the ring announcers always try to look professional, dapper, very clean, very polished. Right. Speak eloquently. Do it strong, do it loud, do it clean and clear. There's a lot of things. You can't just grab a microphone and start calling people's weight and height off. It is an art in its own, just like you can't walk in and be a referee. You can't walk in and be a manager. You can't just walk in and be a wrestler. Any part of wrestling, you have to be able to own it, find your niche, if you will, get your oats about you, and really find yourself. Even though you're not playing a character, you're still playing a character at the same time. Um, Talk us about that whole suit thing, because again, I've mentioned Mark Adam Haggerty. We have a really nice, very, very fine young man called, his name is Matt DeCourt. We love him to pieces in Paradise Alley Pro. I've had him on the show, always looking very dapper. Talk to us about the ensemble, where all of this jazzy suit comes from. And you just said, I find they get rid of the biggest jacket hanging around, collecting a little bit of dust, and the ugliest shit I can find. But you pull it off. It's flashy. It's shiny. Give us some of that, why you went in that direction.
Oh, you know, like I'm just joking pretty much about the ugly.
I know that.
Where I'm coming from, but it's you know, I personally want to represent people as best I can, and it's like if I dress up and if I have, you know, like my white gloves on, and you know, I'm trying to present something with distinction. I'm trying to show you that what I'm presenting is important to me, and it should therefore be important to you because you paid money, you know. So it's like I don't want to just wear some bummy, you know, type you know, blazer or something like that and go there, because the fans all paid money. They're all, you know, 25 deep at least to be there, and you know, they want to see something that's out of the ordinary. So you know, if they come out with the tux, you come out, you know, with a little presentation, it kind of sets a tone. Like, you know, this should be taken seriously. You should respect what you're about to see and everything. And you know, I'm never trying to like get over myself with the you know, the white gloves. A lot of people say like an announcer shouldn't have, you know, a gimmick. You shouldn't be gimmicky or whatnot. But it's, you know, I use this example all the time. Like if you see anything like an antiquity or something like in an auction, it's always presented with white gloves, because you want to show that what at the end of your fingertips is the most important thing in the room at that point. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, like, you know, evoke that feeling that, you know, I'm taking this seriously, so should you. Like, this person is the most important person right now. Heel or face, scumbag or, you know, hero.
And that's one thing, because some announcers, because of their relationships in certain promotions with certain wrestlers, will do that kind of emotional announcing. They'll be like, for the face, they'll be like, blah, 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 blah. Then the heel comes out if they've had a history, and I've seen it here or there, and they'll be like, yeah, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
You exactly. Like, you know, when I say Mr. Darius Carter, it's always Mr. Darius Carter. It's like I say it with some funk, you know, because it's like, I know, you know, I'm trying to let you know without saying it that you better watch this fucking guy. Like, you know, he's cutthroat, and you know, I've been on the receiving end of it, and you might be too. So, you know, so and that's such a great point, though. Oh, that's such a
Those are those little things, though, those nuances that make the ring announcer, your job, that position is very important, as we've been discussing. That's okay. That's okay. Hey, but those are those little nuances that make a very professional ring announcer that you utilize. Those are one of those tools in your tool bag that you can bring out that maybe not everybody picks up. And, you know, fans try to be smart fans, but some of the smart fans aren't that smart. But I like to pick up on that kind of stuff, because it makes, again, the presentation that you're talking about. You're bringing a presentation for the company, yourself, the wrestlers, many things in that aspect. And the fans, it's not like you're in front of 10 people. I've seen you at that Dario's Fitness Slam Jam, that last show that I went to when Dominic De Niro won his championship. Holy shit. Talk to us about that, Shane Fair.
I love that building. You know, like you talk about, like we were talking earlier about, like that pit fighter kind of vibe. Like Darrow's Fitness in the Bronx on Close Avenue for the promotion BWF is it's one of those type real fight feel type buildings. Like you go up this stairwell and you know, you walk through this gym, you're not quite sure what to expect, and there it is like this you know, well lit, professionally lit, dark gym where it's just all business. And TJ Marconi, who really behind the scenes has done a lot with that promotion, is the reason that promotion has gotten so well. I mean, so well received, and like that it's grown where it's like standing room only now. And another reason that building is packed is a cameraman by the name of Danny Walsh. He does all the audio and video. I mean, audio and video, all the video work, all the promo work, and everything. And he presents it in such like a cinematic feel that's like so unlike. I think the fans really responded to like his work. So it's strange, but the video work really lured a lot of fans into that promotion, and the talent is like what kept them there. It's that's such a cool building, and it's a fun promotion. It's like you don't know what to expect. There's issues with fans all the time where it's oh my god, there's I don't know, the fans get really worked over, and there's a lot of physical altercations and stuff like that. It's a wild place for an event, but it's so cool, man.
Well, I've talked about the difference between, say, Connecticut fans at a Tesla Strength or a PAPW or a Battlefront, or like my dad and I, we went to go. The very first time was a couple years back, and it was actually when I was very first starting to do this whole Kincaid file thing. And I went to see one guy and one guy only, Nutrius X.
Oh.
So I went from Bristol to New York City to see one guy, ended up at Dario's. Again, you said, walk up these stairs. It's this gigantic, enormous room of fitness equipment. And you go all the way to the back corner. Now they tape it up, like tape it off with like, tarps or whatever. It's almost like its own city. Before it was open when I went, and it was dead ass midsummer.
Oh.
And that place was effing insane. The crowd was off their freaking gourd, man. I've never seen fans like this in any promotion anywhere that I've been. And I'm not some well-schooled traveler of wrestling, but I will tell you, the ones in New York City flipped my fucking mind. And my dad's like, this place is nuts.
It's you can't ignore like there's like positive racial stereotypes that exist, and I have to say it, like the Latino fans in New York area, the Puertorriqueños, the Dominicanos, the Mexican fans, they are diehard, some of the best fans in the world. So they represent for New York, and they make it look good. Wherever there was always like the riot, the Pedro. Whether the Pedro Morales, Bruno Sammartino riots at the between the Italian and Latino fans at the Garden and everything. There's always been like a passion between, with the Latino fans that's just like not duplicated elsewhere in the country. It's like, you see sometimes, in California, but it's the way the Latino fans represent for the New York fans like makes me proud so much, because it's like, you see at the lucha shows, it's such a pleasure to be around.
I've been to a couple strictly lucha shows myself, in the Connecticut area. Myself, my dad, Fogman, Bruce, and I have to say, just putting it out there, I think we were the only 4 white guys in the entire building. Holy shit, do they put on a party? They're loud, they're proud, like you're saying. They tell you that they're there. When they cheer, they are not shy about cheering at all.
The first time I saw Pentagon live, he took on Ray Horace, Dragon Azteca Jr. And after the match, to see for the first time the fans throw money into the ring, it was like, I looked around, like, I'd heard of it, but to be there firsthand and see like the amount of money that was being thrown in the ring, it was like, fives, tens, like, it wasn't just singles. It was like, and then they piled it all up, and it was pictures afterwards, like with them sorting the money out, between them in the it was like I just the outpouring of love, it turns into like monetary outpouring. It's like I've never seen anything transpire like that. That's love. That's pure love.
I've only experienced that once for myself, actually. I correlate music and wrestling are very similar to each other in many aspects. And I probably sound repetitive if anybody's actually watched more than one episode of my stuff. But the thing being is, we're playing on stage. We do our thing. We get a flat rate, from the club owner. We were doing the Motley Crue and the White Snake and Rat and all of that 80s stuff, right? So we're up on stage. It's a place in where the heck Waterbury. It's like a biker bar. It was called back then. It was called Sugar City Limits, no, something before. I forget. It was something like that. But anywho, we're doing this thing, and some guy comes up, and he just starts flinging money at us. He's like, "You guys fucking rule." And I'm looking at the guys. I go, "Holy shit, that's never happened." Son of a bitch, if that didn't turn into a domino effect, people start coming up like we're playing on the streets of New York or something. And people are just throwing us money. I've never had that in my entire life. I picked up some money and I'm like, dude, we just like people threw like $60 on the floor for us just for jamming some songs. Is that fucking insane or what?
That is cool. That is cool. Yeah, so you to be on the receiving end, that's even better, I can imagine.
Yeah. It's like, holy shit. It just gives you those goosebumps because you're doing a live performance and it's definitely, and again, it correlates with wrestling again. You're not in it for the money because the wrestling's a really tough gig to make that money. Same thing with the local band thing, especially being covers, you know? But
Right.
man, just that, I'm like, holy shit, man. It just took it to a different level, you know?
That's so cool. That is
cool. Now I've only seen you in the New York area as you've worked. Obviously, the Darios, but I've seen because I stalk your stuff all the time. I follow your stuff all the time, you know. So could I say that New York City is definitely your home base? Is that correct?
definitely in New Jersey, like, like Magic is, I'm in love with Pro Wrestling Magic, BCW, obviously Warriors of Wrestling, these and Intense Wrestling Alliance, I love these places, So New York, New Jersey mainly, but I've gotten out to Pennsylvania now with Star Pro, and that's an awesome promotion. Just they've been taking great care of me there, and I love going out to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania fans are great, so that's cool. I'm trying to get around, state by state. It's tough. Rich Palladino's got every job north of New York. He's places simultaneously. I've seen him do both events start at 8, and he'll like be at 2 events, like one in Connecticut and one in Massachusetts. Like it's like sorcery. I don't know how he's doing it, but yeah, no, there's nothing available. No, I'd be happy to come up there, but nah, I love Palladino. I love Bobby Rossi. The guys. There's a lot of great announcers up north, so the competition's like scary up there, really scary. Not that it isn't in New York, but
I did have Bobby Rossi on the show, a very dear friend of mine. Even though we don't get to see each other very often, we correspond, and it's just like talking to really. It's not the brother thing. It's just like talking to a brother. Bobby Rossi is such a kind man.
I love him. He when I come out of the curtain to start a show, that's so difficult to like just go from 0 to 60. Want to rev the crowd up. You want to get that initial push. There is no one I think of more when I have to come out of the curtain with a mic and speak than Bobby Rossi. Bobby Rossi is like there's nobody better to start a show than Bobby Rossi. Like coming out of the gate with a microphone in his hand, no one is going to rev up the crowd and have more relevant shit to say than Bobby, without reaching. Like, and I swear, like there's places I, you have to come out and make that circle, and I have to say things. Then I'll go before the show and I'll time it to make sure I have enough shit to say that I'll get around. And I watch Bobby does it, effortlessly. He just does it like just off the top of the head, and he's just so good at revving up the crowd. So he's somebody I literally think of almost every time I come out of the curtain. I think of Bobby Rossi. So, yeah, I love Bobby.
That's inspiration. I think that's what they call inspiration, like right there, my man. That is amazing.
Love my Bobby. What would Bobby do? Yeah, like a little bracelet.
I love my Bobby too. Oh my God, I'm gonna shed a fucking tear.
Awesome. Oh, I love him. He's super talented.
They got XWA. Speaking of Bobby Rossi, XWA popping place up there. Holy cow!
I love it up there. I get I'll do like a little getaway. I'll leave New York. I'll stay up at there's like a Hampton Inn that's like 2 miles away from there, and I'll go see an event and then come back to the Hampton Inn, and then next day leave. It's like a tradition. Like I do it. They have the New Year's show every New Year's Eve. They have a show, and I went up with Vinny. Where the hell are you, Vinny? You're no show today.
He tried to reschedule. We're gonna see what happens tomorrow night. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and we're gonna 9 o'clock. So I'm putting it right here because I have somebody who's scheduled for 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. He asked if we can do something for tomorrow, said Vinny Pacifico. Now, with that said, I go, well, my 9 o'clock hasn't corresponded with me, and I've followed up a couple times. So I might have a 9 p.m. slot open. So you might see one of two people tomorrow night. Don't be upset. You still might be able to see Vinny. Don't count Vinny out. Come on now.
That's that shady Staten Island shit that I get all about, from being from Staten Island. That's, just like, yeah, I'll be there. And it's like, there's so much said, no intent whatsoever on this island.
Oh my God, he's gonna kill me for this whole segment.
I love it. We went one year and to the New Year's thing, and we stayed in the we stayed the night. It was nice hot night with Vinny Pacifico.
Now I bring up the XWA specifically because I'm thinking back to a memory. I'm not that bright, and I try to find what I can in the data banks because I write nothing down. So one of the memories popped up in my data banks as we've been speaking. The XWA Center, hot as an MFer, if I'm not mistaken. You brought your drone out for a very special occasion that one time, and you did this aerial view. Do you remember that specific night? Talk to us if you do, please.
You know what? I was I think it was Resolution. It was Resolution, maybe 17 or 18, and I remember that day was like the third layer of hell hot. It was so hot. But I before the thing I was like, I want to get a crowd shot, to send to Mike, and because it was a beefy crowd. It was like for independent wrestling, this crowd was, it was stadium size. So I put the drone up and everything. But one time when I was going home from XWA, I don't think it might have been this trip, the same trip. I'm not quite sure. I flew it over the WWF headquarters in Hanford, right? So I was thinking about this Money in the Bank thing, and I was like, wow, I'm the guy for the job. If you need a cameraman, I'm a veteran fly over the Titan Tower pilot. I have a good flight. But it was so cool. Like the one night it was such a stupid thing to do, but I was coming from the hotel. And I was like, all right, I always pass this thing with Sebastian, like on the way up, and it was always like, oh, there it is one day, we'd always laugh. So I was like, I'm coming back by myself this time. I'm gonna stop and fly the drone all around this damn thing. So it's the tower. If you haven't been there, it's like tower residential area. It's like it's like having it in the middle of Mayberry. It's the most residential area. Boom, Titan Tower. And it's like it's so out of place. So I, pulled over the car, and it was like a Sunday, so there wasn't anybody really around. I flew it around the tower. There was a rooftop garden I flew over, and I was like, I did it on Facebook Live like a nut, and then I came back, landed it, and jumped back. But it was so much fun to fly around this stupid thing. I was like such a child, but.
So you're telling me you got away with flying a drone around the Titan Towers without it being shot down by like a stealth bomber or anything? Because Vince McMahon's got some pull, baby.
Or some countermeasures, yeah. I'm surprised, like an anti-drone.
Like the old Reagan bit, the Star Wars thing, like.
Exactly. Space Force One, don't worry about
now. Oh man. Now you were talking Bobby Rossi, Rich Palladino, some fine man. Rich Palladino has made his mark, and like you said, he's kind of hogging up all the jobs. Now that we're not slighting Mr. Palladino by any stretch of the imagination, but give some work, leave some work open for my man Shane over here.
Quarantine cut. I did this myself. This is my third haircut in quarantine. Not bad.
Wow.
This haircut's ridiculous to begin with, but I maintain it myself a little bit here in quarantine.
Now, when you're coming up as an announcer, who are you looking at? Because like Mr. DeCourt, he doesn't mimic said Michael Buffer.
Right.
Michael Buffer is the
Paul. You got Paul Buffer is that the guy that's in
Bruce Buffer.
Buffer is the one that's in boxing, right? I might have
yeah, something like that. I'm not good with names. So I'll just say Michael Buffer. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Bruce Buffer? Bruce Buffer?
Bruce Buffer. Thank you. Paul Buffer's some weird kid I went to school with.
He was my weed dealer back in the 80s. But anywho, Mr. DeCourt, he kind of takes from Mr. Buffer and utilizes it and kind of brings it, and now he's kind of made his own little niche, if you will, by kind of not mimicking him, taking some of that correlation, maybe some from another, maybe some from another. Who are the announcers that Mr. Shane Fair's looking at as he's coming up and trying to, see, like, what the hell am I going to do here?
Well, we lost them, the Fink, man. That was, that my cadence, maybe, like the presentation of hometown, weight, name, that's all, I guess, derivative, from him. It's like, it's all, he was probably the biggest influence on me as an announcer. It's that's the Babe Ruth, the greatest to ever do it. That's a shame I never got to meet him. That was like the top of my list of people I wanted to meet. But it's sad that he's gone now. But after the stroke last year, I know he's probably wasn't the best quality of life. But Larry Legend, as far as like I love Larry Legend. That's my favorite.
Larry Legend is a fucking gem. That guy.
Brian Black here, he's like this unsung announcer here that where he's, he worked at Capitol, and I think he was, I can't speak for him, but whatever happened there. And then this guy's one of the best, and like very few people get to hear from him. I think Brian Black's one of the best. Scotty Cerriti is ridiculous with his memory. He can remember I've been near him writing up cards and like 265 is like wow, like he knows ways. Got an incredible, I love Scotty Cerriti. It's like for each person, like Ryan Peterson, I love, of course, Hagman is like the top of the list. That's that's just the most debonair announcer that there is. Him and Larry Legend are probably the two most debonair. So style wise, I definitely take my cues from them. Social media wise, I try to learn from Mark Adam Haggerty, who's the best, self promoter, but not being overboard or ever being he just the perfect balance of the way he promoted himself, to the level he's at now. He's one of the best for sure. And
now you've mentioned some fantastic names, and I'm going to pull out Mark Adam Haggerty for a second, because that guy, he lives in New Jersey. That MFer is up in Maine. Oh. He's in Connecticut. He's here. He's there. He's everywhere, trying to really market himself. And I mean, the miles that man has put on his vehicles is just something wicked. Never mind being a wrestler. He's a ring announcer. Right. But now, look where he's at. He's an MLW Fusion every single Saturday. We're talking the Von Erich family's in there. You have some of the Samoan bloodline is in there. The names go on and on, where he actually gets to the Davey Boy Smith Jr. And I mean, the names he gets to announce at this company now, very well deserved. A lot of hard work to get there. He really pushed very, very hard, probably harder than any human should probably push in this industry to get where he's at in a short amount of time. Is Shane Fair comfortable in, where you're saying we were talking about some of those fine promotions? Are you looking to really branch your way out across to get to a different plateau or a different level, be it the MLWs or a Beyond or something like that, or just a different plateau or a different level? Or are you kind of cool with where you're at? You've got your niche going on around here. Where's Shane Fair sit with that whole thing?
Somewhere, I would say right in the middle. It's like, I'm content with what I have. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, it was like each dream kind of got met, and then a new one was made, and then that got met. I never thought I'd be a Pro Wrestling Magic or, my hometown promotion of Warriors. Like, these are all things that I wanted and obtained. So it's like, I'm so happy with what I have. But if anything else would be superfluous, but I certainly want to, achieve it. I certainly want the next level. I would love to be at, say, GCW. I would love to be at, an Impact level. Mm-hmm. Whether people see that in me, I don't know, but I certainly have the work ethic, to want to ascertain that for sure.
Do you put out the feelers to do such, really pushing yourself to go out to those promotions and be like, hey man, here's my work. This is my name, my resume kind of thing. Are you still pushing your name? I mean, I know it's a weird time right now, but right. at the time, are you still pushing your name to really get out there?
You know, I have been lucky in the fact that I have never once asked for any of the places I've worked. I've been approached, and that makes me feel very validated. So I want to kind of keep that streak. You know, it's
I
like
got that.
you know, it's like the girl that you have to keep pushing and like convince to go out with you. It never works out because like she wasn't interested in the first place. You know, like if the two of you mutually meet in the middle, then I the relationship's always a little bit stronger. I think more so than the pursuer, creepy kind of, So I don't put out the feelers that much, and like I've been lucky to get obviously Magic knew that I wanted there's nothing more that I wanted to be announced to this. So when I got to and then it just I don't know I've been very lucky in that fact. Even Star Pro I was contacted by but I do have to do that. Obviously, if you want to get to the next level, there's people that are hungrier than I am that are obviously putting those packages together and shopping themselves, and soliciting themselves, in a professional manner. And I should probably do that more, But right now, I'm happy where I am. And the other thing is, too, I have this fucking paranoia where I hate when there's double bookings. When I get the card from where I as a wrestlers can take two bookings. Obviously, an announcer can only be one place, one show, one time. So when Joey B from Warriors gives me the dates, I'll like sit on them. I don't even want to look in the calendar right away because it's like I'm so scared that they're gonna line up with other things and I'm gonna have to tell them, oh, this one lines up. So I've been so lucky with Magic and Warriors, kind of just like DCW. DCW's on Fridays, and it's like the Saturdays have just been missing each other. So I'm always so scared and then you don't want to send the signal. It's like, oh, he's choosing this promotion over mine, which it is.
Right. Farthest from the truth, because the way you talk about each promotion and your comfortability of getting to said promotion and being like, these were goals of mine, like you're so humbled to be in these promotions and being able to do what you do. So I mean, I don't think any promoter should look at Shane Fair in any manner but professional, 100%. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Because I'm gonna go back to that BWF show at Dario's when Dominic De Niro won that title. And I bring his name up twice now because I love the squad. I love all four of those guys. Dominic De Niro has been a fave of mine since I first met him. But I got in my seat. We got there kind of weird time. I was with
the way
it was so jam packed. So I got there with my friend Laura C. I call her my sister LC. We came together to check it out, and we ended up kind of not getting that front row area, so we had to get set back maybe a half a dozen rows or so. It is what it is. We wanted to check it out, but pre-show across this entrance that you guys got coming out, there's two guardrails kind of thing where the men and women come out. It's got the cool lights. There's flags. I like the entrance that you guys have. But on the other side of that, being the far side, you guys have your sound system set up over there. And I see with my own eyes Shane Fair getting ready for the show. I look at LC and I go, get your ass up. If you've never met Shane Fair, now's the time, because we're going to go meet one of the most awesome dudes you'll ever meet. And we go over there and I go, hi, Mr. Fair. You turned around like we haven't seen each other for 30 fucking years, and we hugged. I almost cried a little bit. I loved that whole greeting, man. I will remember it forever, my friend.
Oh, man. Yeah, Brian, that was so sincere, man. I couldn't have been happy to see you. It was like seeing like a character from a movie in real life. It was like a celebrity sighting. It was like, holy shit, there's only one Don Kincaid and he's right here. So I was super fucking happy, man. That was super sincere. But man, thank you, man. That was beautiful, very mutual.
Yeah, that was a great time, and we walked away, and LC goes, holy shit, you guys really got a connection. I go, we do, but we kind of don't, because we don't talk a whole lot. It's been just this weird mutual thing that we got this love going on between us. And man, I love it all. I don't care. I can't wait to see you again. Holy shit.
Soon enough, man.
Now, the ring announcing thing. Where did you start off? Because I'm kind of curious now, because I see you're very put together. It seems to be natural. You never start off as a natural ring announcer or a referee or a wrestler. Take us through some of the beginnings of trying to get your niche in the ring and getting that ball rolling.
Oh well, it was like the very first thing I did, it was at Capital Wrestling, where it was I just it was like a fan experience thing where you paid got like a T-shirt and trading cards, and you got to announce the match of your choice. So I picked Sonny Kiss, wearing the shirt, of course, right now, but it was
Yep.
Sonny Kiss and Ken Dixon. So that was the very first match I got to announce with Sonny. So then after that, Pete Rosado got me in at BWF. That was the very first full thing I announced, and I also got to do the PWA thing. I got to announce one match there, for the Super 8 thing, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
That was so that was pretty cool. So I got to do that, and then BWF was scary because I wasn't familiar with the promotion at all. So I took the poster from the event, I cut everybody's face out, I put them all on index cards, and like when I went there, I knew no one. It was a language barrier because like my
Oh
Espanol
yeah.
is like very high school level. So I I would just match the face. I was like, that's that guy, and I was like, oh, which so I would get there, that was, and then I realized I was like, all right, that might have worked for tonight, but that's not how I'm going to be doing this. Like, we're going to do an arts and crafts project every time, like, I this you, like, so no. So basically, what I do now is I store everything. I store all the names, and so when I get a card, I just go through. I have all their updated stuff, and I'll check it with them before the event. If they say, oh, now I weigh such and such, I'll circle it on the card, which lets me know I got to go update that when I go home. So I go home and go in my little back file, and so that but yeah, that was the first Capital, and then BWF really was where they got the ball rolling. And this guy Pete Rosado, who works at BCW, is like, he got me in at BWF, and he opened the door for me at BCW. Like, this guy is like, he was so instrumental. I love this guy, and he's the commentator at BCW currently, but he definitely helped me out getting into these places for sure, man.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, you've mentioned some fantastic promotions in your area. Tell us, for the fans that don't know all of these promotions, give us the names, because you've been calling out a lot of letters, the BCW and such, okay? Just so we can all catch up and we can get on the Twitter, the face page, and be able to look up this stuff, because if we'd have never heard of them, I want new fans to go check this out, okay?
Very cool. All right, so started Pro Wrestling Magic. I mentioned them a few times. Based out of Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Right now, there are a lot of content going on. If you want to get a taste of what the Magic is about, we just released an event called Family Matters. So every event this year was going to be named after a sitcom. Cheers was the next event. We didn't get to that one, but Full House was our January event, and on Cinco de Mayo, we're going to be releasing that full event on on YouTube and on the Facebook page. So if you want to get a taste of Pro Wrestling Magic, there's two great ways, there. And we also do a show with a guy named Jim Bryant called Monday Morning Magic. I'm on a part of that show, so you can catch episodes
cool.
of that on YouTube. We have a lot of fun doing that. The guy Joey Finnegan, who was great, another great video guy. Warriors of Wrestling, based out of Staten Island. It's a couple miles from me. It's hard nosed, man. Joey B is like, a tough dude, and it's all tough love, but he's an awesome guy, and like, for whatever may be said, he's fucking one of the best dudes I know in the business. I love him. So that's Warriors. That was always something I wanted. It was to work at, Warriors of Wrestling. Basically, Warriors right now has a new crop. They have a school, a training facility. Is what they call the new breed. So there's a whole batch of kids coming out of there right now. Roger Mendez, Mike Harvey, Dexter Obsidian, Ivan Costa, Derek. There's a few guys, and then of course I'd be remiss to leave out Deanna Diaz. There's a bunch of like students coming out of school that are really good. So that's out of Staten Island. Warriors of Wrestling. You could catch Darius Carter there. Sonny was a part. Then you have BCW is Breed Combination Wrestling. It's run by a guy named Anthony Cole. We're based out of New York, but the athletic commission just would not stop fucking with us, and they just, the things that were good for others were not good for us, and it was just a constant, bickering. And we moved to Jersey. We run out of Ridgefield Park, the same building as Pro Wrestling Magic. It's like the mecca of wrestling in New Jersey, that Ridgefield Park building, and
Okay.
we're running out of there on Fridays and everything. So we're right where it's a great promotion. Right now, they're going to have their tag team finals to crown, and your boy Dominic De Niro might be the first tag team champion, there. So that's what I love Dominic De Niro. He's like the Meng, in my opinion. He's like the Meng of indie wrestling. Like, that dude will fuck you up. He will beat the ass all day. So he's a tough motherfucker like that. So he might be like that Jackie Joyner Kersey one leg, gimmick and everything, but he's a badass. But so that's BCW. Then he got Intense Wrestling Alliance. They're based out of Nutley, New Jersey, and there's another great promotion. They're bringing a lot of guys from BWF and like some of the New York promotions, and combining them with New Jersey guys. So it's a cool hub where you see so each promotion kind of has like its own merit, where it's like and that's like a good hub promotion where it mixes New Jersey and New York up into coming talent. So IWA is certainly on the cusp. BWF I mentioned, Marconi is doing an awesome job over there. So he's definitely somebody I look up to in wrestling. So he's doing a great job over at BWF. Let's see, who did I miss? Well, I'm gonna feel bad if I did. It was real shitty if I did.
Hey,
ECW? Yeah, coming.
Yeah, but we can't remember them all, man. That's why there's so much to retain for wrestling. We can't remember them all. And I applaud you for remembering as much as you did. Holy shit.
I think, what, a standalone wrestling, man, Chad Menez is a dude I love. And he's a ball breaker, and he's got a lot of enemies, and most of his enemies have a common theme where they're all shitty. So it's he just separate those. Chad's an awesome dude. Runs standalone wrestling, and I was gonna have my first opportunity announced there, and he had Killer Cross before Killer Cross was an Impact, really great promotion, standalone wrestling.
So I've seen Mark Haggerty be decapitated by Killian McMurphy. That was fun. Love that. That was good times. Now, with that being said, that was in Wrestler's Lab. With that being said, you're a ring announcer. Ring announcers don't really take the bumps. They don't get involved in that kind of stuff. Has Shane Fair ever been involved in a bump or a story kind of situation?
Oh, I don't know what it is about the seat at Magic. I mean, I'm sorry, at Warriors of Wrestling. It's like a tape, you have the old school scoring table where it's they have the bell, and you're sitting at the little table. I call it the front row seat, where it's I get the little table. I'm 5 feet in front. It's the coolest little fringe benefit, right? But apparently, talent really doesn't like you sitting around the ring and looking comfortable. So I've been thrown on my ass by Masha Slamovich, Chris Steele, and Mr. Darius Carter have all thrown me out of my seat at Warriors. So that's been rough.
Man,
yeah.
Sorry to laugh at your demise, but I'm trying to picture it all go down. And when you said Masha Slamovich, I already had something all planned out and ready to go.
I regardless of her mistreatment of me, she's I think she's one of the best female talents in wrestling, and she got stranded. I don't know. I haven't kept up. I think she's stranded in Japan at a dojo. Couldn't get a flight back, right?
I believe so, because since she's been out there, I haven't seen a whole lot of content. That's got to mean she's still stuck overseas. If you don't see content from one specific wrestler, they've got to be stuck somewhere where there's not the access of the internet,
That sucks. Yeah, she's one of my favorites, and regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Even Darius, I love. It's just tough love.
Now the career as an announcer for one Shane Fair. Where do you see this going? Until you can't do it no more? Do you have a time frame set to where, in 2000X, I'm done with this. This is kind of where I'm going. I have this on the side. I have a shoot job, if you will. Do you have a goal set, or are you just going to kind of keep going until you're just feeling done?
That's such an amazing question because it's like so scary to think about. It's like, it's like I try to set the parameters. Like when I can't jump up on the apron on one knee, until like I have to put on my glasses to read the card. Till my bald spot gets too big in the back, like which it's on the way. But it's I don't know. I don't know because it's so tough to say because there's not too many older ring announcers in the business. Like you turn to the WWE product, that the best man in the world to do it was pushed out of the business long before he, the ability, maybe left him a little. Like, we saw, remember the CM Punk entrance, that was well after this man had left the company, and you saw that he still had the talent to do it better than anybody in the business. So, that's scary. So there's an expiration date, maybe on your physical appearance before your talent, and it's scary. I don't know when it's going to be. I want to do this forever. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know when the end is. I'm scared to figure out how it determine it.
And let's be honest, the WWE basically looks like the Fox News channel with all of their hot acres that used to be former models and shit like that. That's all you see in that company now, even in the ring on NXT. Not taking anything away from the women at all, but I'm just saying that's like their demo, if you will, is just these beautiful women, and a lot of them are like 3.5 feet tall, so the guys can kind of monster them.
Right. That's another thing too. That's another good point too. They don't want in-ring talent that is demonstrative or bigger than they want to showcase the athlete. So it behooves them to have an announcer who's 5'4", but So I get that. That's another great point too. I know Mark House always told me he's like, you're a big guy, you have to downplay it somehow. He's like, either spread your legs and take like 6 or 7 inches off yourself by widening your stance. I think the way that I try to make up for it, like I'm constantly skittish about everything around me. Like like I try to
Yeah.
make it known that I'm out of place. I'm a little bit off put by these big guys around me and such like that.
One of those little nuances, the animation of a ring announcer adds such a great element to it. And I know, they say, again, like you mentioned at the top of this, they say that ring announcers aren't supposed to have a gimmick or, take away from anything that's happening because you're there to announce them and that's your job. And I get that. But we were just talking about the Fink. Tell me that's not a gimmick right there. That's one of the pioneer right there. The Fink. I mean, come on, that's a gimmick.
Oh hell yeah! When the MSG microphone would get I probably was right on the cusp of going to MSG where I was able to see the lowered microphone. Like I was right probably around 85 or something like that. So I probably caught maybe the tail end of like that. But that's iconic. Like just watch the lowered microphones at MSG. Yeah, he was like a gimmick in himself, man. Just like the mustache and his appearance, like he's the icon, man. He's like the greatest.
XWA, they have that rolling mic over there, and seeing Rich Palladino announce when that thing comes out, it's just like, oh my god, I love fucking wrestling so much.
Man, what a difference a winch makes, man. It's like a plywood and a winch, and that thing, it never fails too. It always comes down perfectly and like always goes up nicely. It's like that thing is great. I love that.
I do too. It adds. I had Mr. Jose Garcia on. Mr. Jose Perez. We did talk shoot and gimmick with Mr. Perez. Very angry man. Don't want that flaming chop thing from him at all. I've only never seen it personally, but anywho, Mr. Jose Perez takes fantastic care of that place up there. Takes an army to do it, but he's at the helm over there. That was the very first thing that they ever installed into the XWA Center on a blank canvas when there was absolutely nothing in there. He said, I want a drop-down microphone. As soon as that microphone was in there, they literally built the inside of the XWA Center around the microphone itself.
You know what? There's something else about that building that is special to me. The posters along the wall that have all the former champions are about like 5, 6. All right. But there's something more to that, right? Because it's like you can walk in, first of all, there's like different levels. You can walk in off the street and say, oh, these are all the champions. Wow, that's cool. Oh, this guy, Tomasino Ciampa, you could see like, oh, these, there's some provenance to these guys. They've all gone on to do big things. But the other thing is that holds you to a level of accountability where you're never going to put the belt on some schlub or some, champion that's just, a placeholder, a transitional champion. And because you're going to have to put a 6-foot poster up on the wall and the people are going to see that forever. So, like, I love the level of accountability that has, and so many levels to, like, like I said, you could see the whole history. You could see the chronology of, like, how, the timeline in which this happened. But it also holds them to like accountability because you're not going to put some dick on the wall, with a goofy face that's going to,
I never thought of it that way because again, that's one of the very first things you see when you walk in there is right to that far wall when you walk in the door is all of those beautiful pictures and you're like, holy shit. But like you said, not a one of them, is a hack or nothing. And I'm not saying that you would ever put a gold strap on a hack, but they put that much pressure on themselves. Like you're saying, you're not going to put some Joe Schmo up there, And I mean, and I'm not taking anything away from Shark Boy, but you're not going to put a Shark Boy up there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, I wonder if they've ever like legitimately asked themselves like, well, we could make him champion, but you do remember we're going to have to put him. I wonder if that's ever been like a deciding moment. That's like blocked anybody from going on to be champion, where it's like the thought of their poster being up there was like too tough to. Now, that's all being said, I do have a road story for XWA. Like I love XWA. That's my favorite. It's one of my favorite places. I drive. It takes me. It's like 200 miles, and I drive there like from like where I am. It's like 200 miles, and like I said, I do the hotel thing and everything. So I went there one winter's eve. And they had like a propane kerosene heater in the building, right? Which is cool because it's winter and everything, but wasn't so cool. The gate was down. Now my ass is so sensitive to everything. Like I have like such a frail immune system. I don't know, bro. Smelling that kerosene, right? I was getting a little sick during the evening. I pulled over, man. It was like death hanging out of my car, just bile pouring out of me and like sleeping in a fetal position in my car at a rest stop. And I was like, that damn kerosene heater. I was like, so that also weighs into the decision that I'll never make that trip and not like stay at the hotel afterwards. But I was deathly ill, man. I was like, and that's what it was. It's no other thing that it was. It was that damn kerosene heater. And I still wasn't, I was like, you know what? It was still a good night of wrestling. I don't care if I've, got mesothelioma in 2 hours.
my man is dying of carbon monoxide poisoning on his way home.
Horrible. And all I was worried because it was at a rest stop. I was like, some cop's gonna think that I'm like drunk out of my face. It's like, just like oozing whatever fluids are left in my body at that point. They're just horrible, man. And I was legit like, in fetal position in the driver's seat, like, I was like, I think I'm gonna die. But of course, I bet you if you asked everybody else that was in that building, then nobody had a problem. It's just my frail ass.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I've been there a few times myself, and it does kind of get to you. But you push through it. You're like, I don't give a fuck what's going on. I'll die watching the rest of this event. And that why are wrestling so fucking stupid that we will expend our lives just to finish a fucking event?
I have another dumb XWA story that's like non-XWA related. Like as a teenager, one of the tragedies that like my I don't know, my friend and I, like, we were together all the time, and like we would always news was always big for us and everything. And then one of the tragedies that like affected us as teens was that damn Station nightclub fire. up in Rhode Island, right? The Great White Concert and everything. Horrible. It was like over 100 people lost their lives. A really, horrible event. So we were always not in like a morbid sense, but we were just like, I don't know, like affected by it for some reason. Just like it was just, hearing the stories. There was a big VH1 thing at the time. Remember the behind the music, and it was this horrible footage on YouTube. I don't recommend looking up. But one night after, I realized that the Station nightclub is in Warwick. It's like 2 miles away from XWA. So I was like, you know what? I just want to see it. Like maybe this was more of a curiosity. Like, because I hate people that go and take the smiling pictures in front of the Trade Center and everything. So it's like, this was kind of like hypocrisy on my point, But I wanted to see it. So it was nighttime. I walk up, and what I didn't know is there's a sensor light that when you enter the gateway, the whole place lights up, bro. I almost shit myself. I walked to the gateway, and it was like, oh! I was like, holy shit! Like, and I looked for like a caretaker, like that was like, I was like, I was like, I realized at that point, I was like, I should not be poking around here. I was like, I'm fucking leaving. That was sick. But they have a sensor light when you walk through the gate, almost as if the whole thing lights up just for you. And oh my God, that scared the shit out of me. It's like, okay, I'm sorry to be poking around. I'm leaving. I get it.
Oh man, Mr. Fair, I didn't. I knew this was going to be a fantastic conversation, but my cheeks are fucking killing me from laughing and smiling so much. Oh my God, you've been an absolute joy just sitting, talking. We've been talking wrestling. We talk Shane Fair in a fetal position, for crying out loud. I mean, you have been an absolute joy hanging out with us and talking to the fans, and I thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you, brother. The pleasure's all mine, man. This has been like talking with my friend in my room. There's nothing better, man.
Dude, that's what we like to hear on Stirring the Pot, because that's what it's supposed to be about. I'm no fucking professional. We all know that. So we've got to make it kind of chit chat back and forth, We've been going a little bit over an hour. I didn't think you were going to be able to stomach me for maybe like a half hour, 40 minutes or so. So I appreciate that.
Oh, give me a break, man. I could go for hours, brother.
I could too, but we need to leave a window open, because we can't take all of the secrets of Shane Fair and throw them all out at the same time. We got to get more road stories down the line. We've got to get what Shane Fair is up down the line. So with that, I hope that we can talk to Mr. Shane Fair down the line in the future and get a little follow-up action.
I love that, like, you're referring to this guy as in the third person. It's going to make me want to do so by pride. I think the Shane Fair will definitely be honored to be back here.
Yes. Oh, man. You have been awesome. I can't thank you enough, man. Please stay safe. Wash your hands, wash your ass. Preferably the other, ass first, then hands, do it.
Yeah, otherwise it cancels out, man.
Yeah, it does. It just goes like this, and it's like, hey, my name is Wuhan, I mean, it just comes out like that,
Let's put the blame on man.
Mr. Shane Fair, it's been amazing tonight. This has been Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, and I still am smiling like an MF-er. This has been so awesome. My very special guest, the man with the white glove treatment, Mr. Shane Fair. Thank you so much for spending the time with the fans tonight.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Don. It's a pleasure to see you, brother. Thank you for having me, man.